Jamaica, who was a developed country in 1950, is still stuck in 1970.
We want the young people to learn from the older folks how to be good, decent citizens.
Technological advancement that these countries need in order to move forward. Jamaica must do the same.
Every Jamaican should have access to clean, potable water.
A lot of people thought it was impossible, but as I say, you have sometimes to dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe.
Crowd is management bar open up. When man a drink rum is a serious matter. But I want to first of all correct my friend, Comrade Clayton. It's the Outreach Commission, of which Clayton Morgan is a chairman for Region 6. And we started a high-profile series recently. And I must say that Region 6, under the direction of Clayton Morgan, was the first out of the blocks. And so he's at it again, organizing and introducing positive policies to the people of the West.
Hello, everybody. Look like I'm a little short for these microphones. You can see me now? All right. I'm Nekeisha Burchell. I'm the PNP's MP candidate for South St. James. I'm also the Information and Public Communication spokesperson for the PNP. I want to say hello to Councillors Kenroy Gordon, Councillor Swaby, Councillor Martin Kelly, and Comrade Reddington McIntyre. So all four of our divisional representatives are here tonight. A round of applause for them. So I'm a pastor's daughter from up in Garland, and I'm a politician. So you know, if you put microphone in front of me, we'll be here from now till tomorrow morning. So what I did when I learned just now that I needed to speak is I wrote down a few things. So a couple people came over to talk to me and I was really into my phone. I'm gonna go through it because I don't wanna miss anything and I don't want to waste your time either. I stand before you not just as a candidate, but as someone whose story was shaped by St. James. I was raised in this parish. I went to school here. I was strengthened by its values. And I carry with me everything this parish poured into me. But I've also seen the gaps, I've seen the challenges, I've lived through the struggles of our parish. I've had to walk barefoot to school on broken roads that have not been fixed for years and years and years. I've had to suffer the indignity of not being able to be born in my own parish. My mother had to travel out of St. James into St. Elizabeth to welcome me at a hospital that could cater to us. I've had the opportunity to see firsthand the struggles in the parish. And therefore, when I speak, I'm not speaking as an outsider. I'm speaking as a daughter of this parish, a daughter of South St. James who understands what it takes to bring a constituency out of the pits it's currently in and on a path of progress. So many of the students I grew up with in my own family, most of my siblings have migrated, and I can't wrong them. Maybe it's me laying ahead to still be here, to still want to try to do something for my parish, for my community, and for my country. The opportunities they hoped would have come their way, they haven't come, and so they've gone to, dare I say, greener pastures. That is why I have worked with my team to develop what we call South at Heart. HEART is an acronym. We use it to say how we want to see South St. James transformed. And acronyms are easy because you can follow them and you can tap into the story for the better South St. James you want to be a part of. H is for heritage tourism. We are sitting on untapped resources in South St. James. Our cultural legacy is so rich. From of Maroons, you know, the first Flagstaff settlement for Maroons is in South St. James, to Catadupa, birthplace of Samuel Sharp. We have such a rich legacy, a rich cultural legacy, that we can package that, package our pride, package our product, and sell it to the world. We can become the eco-tourism destination in South St. James. E is for education and training, whether it is in the primary schools, the basic schools, high schools. We deserve our fair share of the best educators Jamaica has. A lot of our educators from South St. James aren't even employed in South St. James. They service other communities and other schools. We believe we should at least be able to retain our best and our brightest. That's what a former Minister of Finance said. We believe that with proper investment, we can have digital education in South St. James as well. But we don't have internet access in most of our communities, even in 2025. For us, education is a lifelong continuum. We want our farmers, our housekeepers, our workers, our students, our wives, our husbands, our farmers, again, to feel comfortable to go back and join the education train if they feel the need for it without embarrassment. The PNP provided an avenue for that before, and we're going to make sure that anyone who wants to learn to read and write can find that in South St. James. A is for agriculture. Yeah. We are the agriculture mecca of St. James. I'm sorry, Rochelle. Yeah, we're full of land. South St. James takes up 52% of the parish of St. James. We're big and we spread out large. We have lands that can make us wealthy. We know how to plant yam, banana, afu. We know how to plant the seasonings, the ginger, the pepper, the scallion. And we want fair access to the markets. We want fair access to the hotels in the city. And we want opportunities to package our products, not just as raw materials, but to process them into jams and spices and sell them to the world packaged, made with love in South St. James. R is for roads and infrastructure. I can't even talk about that too much because all the constituencies in South St. James need roads and infrastructure. But our biggest problem in South St. James is water. Water is life, and we've been blessed in South St. James to have some of the best sources for water. But would you believe in at least 2 of our major communities, water is pumped out of St. James into Westmoreland and into St. Elizabeth. And the communities that host the sources don't have water in their pipes. We want to fix that for our people. We believe that our water is good enough for others. It's good enough for us. Give us first dibs from our sources. T is for thriving communities. We want to create opportunities where the young people can teach the old people and the old people can teach the young people. Time come for that. We want to have bingo halls again and domino stations so the old people can feel like they don't need to sit home and just languish away until they die, but they can come there and learn how to write an email and do a video call and find out that AI stands for artificial intelligence and tap into that intelligence and lengthen their lives. We want the young people to learn from the older folks how to be good, decent citizens, how to take them hand and turn fashion, how to make a cutter, how to stitch a dress, how to hem a frock. We want to create green spaces so our children can play safely. They don't have to set up cricket pitch in the middle of the street and risk their lives. We have land in South St. James. We want our community centers to come back and to come back stronger than ever. But no plan is good enough if it's just on paper. A plan is as good as those who will action it. And if one thing is for sure, or two things is for certain, I'm an action woman. I was born in poverty and I'm not gonna die there. But I'm not gonna escape poverty alone. I wanna take my sisters, my brothers, my neighbors with me. You being here tonight means you believe in that vision. You believe that people in South St. James need an opportunity to see the light. I ask you, please partner with us. Help us to transform our South St. James into the promise Sam Sharp dreamt of when he lit the flames of freedom from Catadupa all the way down to St. James. God bless you and thank you for coming out.
Comrades and friends, as the party leader would say, because you never know where you are, you must be open and inclusive. Comrades and friends. Thank you very much, Clayton, Comrade Clayton, for arranging this very important gathering of people who believe in the future, not just of Jamaica, but in particular of the West. It is important and quite fortuitous that we're having this event today on May 1, because today is May Day. In 1981, after years of work, Montego Bay gained city status on May 1. And the constituency that I am seeking and intend to represent really encompasses much of Montego Bay. The metropolis of Montego Bay really includes the constituencies that Andre will represent, West Central, and what Allan will represent, Northwest. But downtown, the heartbeat of the parish, the city, Montego Bay, is Central. Central also is home to most of the housing stock of this parish, and therefore most of those who work in this parish and in this region. We're talking places like Cornwall Court, built by PNP, Rosemont Garden, built by the PNP, so too Cornwall Garden, Farm Heights, and this is where most of our working class population, upper working class, reside. It therefore means that as the Member of Parliament, my duty will be to speak on behalf of the workers of this parish, not just for those who are in tourism and BPO, which make up much of the economy of Montego Bay, but in general, they represent our civil servants, our teachers, our police officers, those who are in the army, those who are in the fire brigade, or nurses, doctors. They make up what is central. So the issues for me, as I have been spending time in the constituency over the last 8 months or so, they are very targeted. Issues like land titling for places like Rose Heights and Green Pond, Salt Spring. These people who found it necessary because of the need for housing found themselves in places that needed to be regularized. And whilst there may be a lot of talk in the media about Operation Pride, I will state categorically that Operation Pride helped to settle those people in Rose Heights and elsewhere, and I shall continue that work to settle in more people to ensure they have a piece of this rock. Housing is a major issue, especially for new homeowners in places not just in the suburban areas, but also in the urban areas. I believe it is important that we invest in mixed use housing opportunities in places like King Street, Barracks Road, Hart Street, to ensure that commercial and residential can operate seamlessly. And we will be investing in that area, particularly starting with King Street and Barracks Road. But more importantly, as we open up places like Salt Spring, housing investment shall be crucial, and I will identify and work towards finalizing a new housing development in that area in the rich tradition of the People's National Party. It is not just about building homes. It is about building communities. And I will tell you today that it is the hardest thing for us to find community spaces to even engage with residents. Just last week, I tried to put on an event where I would have had a town hall meeting. And unfortunately, finding a community space, the one in Farm Heights, has been padlocked for 2 years. There's none in Rose Heights. There's none in Green Pond. And that cannot continue. If we believe in building communities that will cause people to see and believe in the hope of the future of this country, then we must invest in building communities. I will look to build 5 new, whether new or build on, community spaces in places like Green Pond, Rose Heights, Farm Heights, Portobello, because the people deserve it, and we shall answer that call. I heard Andre speak earlier about the issue of transportation, public transportation. Much of the congestion in this city is due to the fact that we do not have an organized transportation system. It is high time that we expand what currently exists, fit for purpose, to ensure that it answers the needs of the people and ensure that we are managing the flow, the in and outflow of people into the city. A congested city means an unproductive city. And because I believe in the future of the city, then productivity is a major component. I will lead that effort to ensure that a new transport center, which is already part of the One Mobe plan, will be dusted off and implemented by the next PNP government. Ladies and gentlemen, I was born here. I live here and I believe in here. This girl, this Bay girl, shall deliver for the people of St. James Central and the people of Montego Bay. I look forward to your support. Thank you.
Northwest St. James, as many of you know, has a particular kind of culture that permeates the space, wherever, Flankers, Norwood, Salt Spring, Glendevon. That sentiment I often characterize with a particular word. It's a constituency that has been traumatized for 23 years. And I use that word deliberately. Those are the conversations that we are having. It's a constituency where the constituents are not happy. They're not happy. And the prerequisite for bringing about any kind of social transformation in Northwest.
Good evening, good evening. What a set of people, they look nice. Una most comrade. Chairman, friends, family, it is a pleasure to be here this evening. I hail from Western Hanover, a little community named Kendall. I don't know how many of you have heard of Kendall in Hanover. It's a small community that thrives on agriculture. It's a small community with a lot of talented people. I am from a family of service. My call to duty was propelled by the hopelessness I saw. I went away to school and I returned and I set up business. Every day I had to travel through my parish, every day. And when I traveled from Lucy straight into Negril, the roads are bad. You see sufferation. You see the people on the street just wanting help. So my call to duty was propelled by the hopelessness I saw and the need for proper and effective representation. I am from a family of service. My father, who was a counselor, a long-time counselor, gave of himself. My family, I'm from a family of teachers. They give of themselves. So it was easy when I saw that hopelessness to give of myself for service. Western Hanover has always been that parish that they say is the forgotten parish. A parish rich with cultural heritage, tourism, resources. A parish rich with talented people, but it has been called the forgotten parish. But I stand here before you tonight to say that will be no more. I put myself forward because Hanover will never, ever be termed the forgotten parish when I become the Member of Parliament and Mark Jefferson Golding is the Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Our councillor candidate in the Spring Garden Division, Warren Murray, as well as my other team members, Maureen, such a lovely lady she is. All my well-wishers, good evening. Tell the mayor that he has until the 6th of May to put back my posters or give account to the ombudsman. And we say that very seriously. And when it passes the ombudsman, we're taking it to the courts, the Privy Council, and the Supreme Court even. Because what we're witnessing in this parish is a very trivial approach to leadership, a very trivial approach to politics. And we believe that they are disguising the political victimization under the auspices of the power of the parish council. Fellow Montegonians, fellow comrades, fellow well-wishers, what I truly desire for this parish is to rid itself of its triviality and to begin to internalize and recognize that Montego Bay has far more potential than that which it has displayed over the past decade and a half. What I want, fellow Montegonians, is for us to have real ambition. Not just petty ambition like the development of a Harmony Beach Park or a perimeter road. But I want us to have real ambition of not just being called the second city of Jamaica, where our people serve tourists and where we have our people calling through business process outsourcing, but where our young people believe in themselves and are given the necessary foundation, not just to be servants, but to be creators of technology, creators of innovation, and to be real creators of change and development for our great city. When you look around you, Montego Bay has been evolving, right? We have moved from an agricultural economy throughout the 1960s, 70s, and 80s to a country now that is accommodating technology in all its forms. And you see it around you. We have the Barney Tech Park, and within the communities, we have created small hubs where people can have livelihoods. We talk about the tech park that Councillor Troop and myself were built in Pitford, where young people have a place to gather, a place to learn, and a place to understand where the world is going through technology. The idea is that what we've seen thus far is a start, and a very good start. But as the race continues, we need to build on that start and to move Montego Bay from just being considered as a tourism destination, from just being considered as a business process outsourcing destination, to a place where we push towards knowledge process outsourcing, to a place where our young people are integrated into the foundations of technological learning and the foundations of innovation, where we can consider ourselves a modern metropole and not just the second city of Jamaica. If you look around you and you watch the news, the world is changing. So countries are now internalizing their productive efforts and internalizing their ambitions. If you look at what is happening with England and Brexit over the last decade and a half, England has been withdrawing itself from the EU in order to build itself as a great nation. If you look at the policies in China, they have recognized that in order to compete globally, they must equip their population with the necessary knowledge and expertise that they need to be the producers of this modern world. If you look even at America, with what Donald Trump is doing, though not seen as the perfect economics by us as outsiders looking in, but there's an attempt to bring back industry to America, to bring back livelihood to America, to bring back the productive efforts to America, and he is making a stance. If you look at what is happening in Africa with Ibrahim Traore, he has expelled France from his constituencies, expelled the colonizers from the productive efforts of his country. He has also expelled the donors and the international lenders from participating in the modern development of his country. These are just examples of how developed and developing countries around the world are putting measures in place to ensure that their citizens are not only servants of this world, bringing food on a platter to tourists or answering calls to satisfy demands of what foreign nationals need, but they are being provided with the necessary underpinnings of technological advancement that these countries need in order to move forward. Jamaica must do the same. And Montego Bay has an important role to play in this modern development that Jamaica must embark on. We must not just see ourselves as a second city, trying to be secondary to what is happening elsewhere. We must see ourselves as a modern developing city. That the success that countries have engineered over the last 50 years, over the last 60 years, over the last 70 years did not occur by chance. It was a properly orchestrated, properly engineered, properly planned approach towards the management of the people of their countries. In 1950, technology represented only less than 1% of China's GDP. Today, technology represents over 32% of China's GDP. If I were to ask you what percent of Jamaica's GDP is technology, none of you could answer that question. And that is the most fundamental question any country can ask itself in 2025. Today in 2025, Jamaica, who was a developed country in 1950, is still stuck in 1970, while China, who was an underdeveloped country in 1950, is now living in 2070. That is a point for us to introspect in ourselves, to say, who are we as a people? What do we want for our country? What do we want for our city? What do we want for our citizens? And I say to you, my fellow comrades, we have failed our people dearly. And it's not about the politics. It's about the leadership that the politics have overshadowed in so many ways. And I myself, as an academic, has made the sacrifice to join the realms of leadership for this country. And you know what people say? Please, when you're going to politics, don't change. Because politics have changed so many of you. And they message my phone continuously on a day-to-day basis. Andre, try to maintain yourself. What does that say to you as a Jamaican? I don't know what it says to you, but I know what it says to me. It says to me that there are a set of house slaves, a set of wannabes who pretend to be leaders, disguised under politics, and use their position to overpower the rest of the country, to rob us of our budget, to build. It is so disrespectful and disheartening what I have seen from the leadership of this country. And as a young man, I am ashamed of the country. I am ashamed of the leadership of the country. And many times I get the podium and I do not speak about it because it's just lip service. I am just waiting to win, to make the difference. Because I say to you today, the Andre you know from 1982 is the same Andre you will know in 1990. And the Andre you know from 1990 is the same Andre you know in 2000. And the Andre you know in 2000 is the same Andre you know in 2012. And the Andre you know in 2012 is the same Andre you know in 2025. What could come over me to adopt the dirty, illicit ways of these politicians that I myself despise so much? And I must say it because I joined politics not as a politician, but as a leader. But being in politics, I have recognized how conniving these people are, how these people lack care and concern for the development of Jamaica and Montego Bay, I call my home. And I might be successful, I might not be, but what I represent is the voice of a little boy from Mount Salem who sees Jamaica not as a place where we are disenfranchised by the reminiscence of slavery, not as a place where a few people believe that they must be in control and the city must be suppressed in such a way where Harmony Beach Park was created and it's locked at 8 p.m. at night time. We cannot walk the beach, where there's no light from KFC to walk on our tourism strip past Aguasal Park all the way to Margaritaville, the place dark like midnight. I say to you, where Sam Sharp's Quarries has not developed since they built those statues. St. James Street has not changed since they built those statues. We live in a dirty city, and instead of cleaning up the city and evolving the place, the mayor is concerned about tearing down my posters because the JLP see the People's National Party and myself as a threat to them and their dominance in Montego Bay. But alas, the slavery mentality that these leaders in Montego Bay have, the disenfranchised of our communities, the suppression of our communities to state of emergencies and zone of special operation shall be no more, because we believe in the potential of our people and we believe in the education and empowerment of the people of Montego Bay. And through that, we will create civilized persons who understand that crime is not the way to create wealth, who understand that belittling your neighbor or shooting your friend is not the way to create wealth. We create wealth through harnessing our potential, through improving our education, through giving ourselves the opportunity to exfoliate our knowledge and to live in a community that is equipped with the necessary infrastructure that our young people can explore their full ambition. And that is why I decided to offer myself as a politician in Montego Bay. Tell the mayor, forget about the posters, focus on the development of the city. The city is dirty and the city needs modernization. Listen, since I've been here, I've been on a program to make Montego Bay safe. SAFE. And we have our website, it's called asafejamaica.com. You can check out the work that we've been doing. S is for sports. And you've seen the sports and the sporting activities that has been taking place. We use the sports to bring peace to Granville. We use the sports to bring peace to Montego Bay. We use the sports to bring peace to Mount Salem. The arts is for art, the A is for arts and artistry. And we've held a lot of pain for peace. And we've created platforms where those of us who are artistic can use our skills and generate income from those skills. The F is for financial literacy. And you've seen my financial literacy classes. You've seen them on the internet. That is what we are doing in these communities. And the E is for empowerment and economics. And that is the foundation of the development of these communities. I am the Shadow Minister for Science, Innovation, Technology, and Entrepreneurship. And I believe that we now have to invest in the science of the country. He spoke about it. Allan came here, he spoke about it. We understand what it is going to take to move a nation of such remarkable people from the bowels of poverty and the job creation that Andre Haughton focused so much on to the depths and the heights of wealth where Jamaica and our people belong. The idea is that we must become the new technological hub in the Western region. We have to continue to forge partnerships with India, to forge partnerships with China, to forge partnerships with our African brothers and sisters, because whilst Jamaica represents a market of just 3 million people, Africa represents a market of over 1.2 billion people. So we have to reintegrate ourselves. The triangular trade that left from Africa to Europe to the Caribbean must now become a linear trade directly from the Caribbean to Africa. And that is what we are here to develop. That is what we are here to maintain. And I say to you, my fellow comrades, that this is just the beginning of a new nation. This is the beginning of real change. And this is the beginning of a foundation that Jamaica must lie in order for us to re-engineer the thought process of our young people and create wealth in the mission. Love and blessings, everyone.
Anyway, Kingsley, come join me. Kingsley. Come, Kingsley. Come join me. I was going to say, whoops. What age group?
I'm good.
What age group?
Eh?
Oh,
I'm 76.
oh, he's a youth. He's 76. I'm 83, so he's a youth. And he's still going. Fantastic public servant. Every time you hear anything about Kingsley, the word conceptualizer comes in. And why I wanted to say tonight that we have a commitment. All of us in this great People's National Party have a commitment to be the best that we can be. He's a fine example of that. I remember when he conceptualized the concept of the infrastructure concept of the highways. Every time you drive on it, remember this man.
Mandy, thanks very much for that introduction. Somewhat passionate, but somewhat true. I would like us all to give a round of applause to the 10 candidates that we heard from tonight. I think that they were excellent, extremely excellent in what they spoke about in terms of their plans for their various constituencies. I also believe, and we heard them, the emphasis on communities, the development of communities, which is critical for any country to grow and to prosper. I was invited by Clayton, and I must commend Clayton and his team for hosting this extremely interesting event. A mixed audience, I would say, and that is why I did not start out by saying comrades, friends, and everybody else. because a political movement cannot succeed by talking only to themselves. They need, or is there something taking place? Okay. The point I'm making is that a political movement cannot succeed in a poll by speaking only to its members. It has to reach out to others, the independents and the other party. And that is critical, that the candidates understand that in order to succeed, much less thrive, we need to reach across the bridge and embrace the other side. Now, I was asked to speak tonight on the 1st of May, but the way things were going, I thought I would be speaking on the 2nd of May. One thing that I will promise you, I am a subscriber, or that I subscribe to the Annie Palmer School of Public Speaking, when she said to her several husbands, "I will not keep thee long." So, the theme of this event is basically learning from history. Something which I have guided me throughout my entire 40 years of public service, broke times by working overseas and by working in the private sector, is a point which was made by the former Prime Minister, Comrade P.J. Patterson, at an event which was hosted here by Clayton, when he said that you can be affiliated with a political party, but your allegiance must be to the country. Must be to the country. And so I am not in any way afraid to say tonight that I am affiliated with the People's National Party, but that my allegiance is to Jamaica land we love. And that should be the guiding principle of all of us here. In fact, I thought that we would have received some people from the other side, Clayton, tonight. We did. And it's good to have individuals who support the other side to hear the message of our candidates, of Sister Bev, of Comrade Clayton, to get a clear feel of what it is that a government formed by the People's National Party will deliver for the people of Jamaica. And not some of the people, but all of the people. All of the people. Now, I have been identified with several projects, as Sister Bev has told you. But there's something which is happening in the country where a tale, a narrative is being developed as if nothing was done by the People's National Party government for 18 years. A narrative which seems to be taking root in certain areas. So let me just highlight a couple of these things. The Montego Bay bypass, for argument's sake. The Montego Bay bypass. That was a project which was conceptualized and developed at the Development Bank of Jamaica while I was the CEO. In February 25th, 2003, February 25th, 2003, after serious negotiations, the government of Jamaica signed an agreement with the government of Malaysia for the construction of the Montego Bay bypass. That was done in Malaysia on February 25th, 2003. The government of Malaysia committed to fund the project, which then was estimated to cost 70 million US dollars. 70 million. That was the cost which was estimated to build the Montego Bay bypass. Substantially along the same route that it has been done. 70 million. The government of Malaysia committed to fund 60%. 60% of that, or 42 million, with the Jamaican government only have to put in $28 million. It's a generation, 20 odd years have passed, and that is when the highway, the bypass, is being constructed at a cost 4 times that which it would have costed us in 2003, 2004. From 70 million to 280 million. 4 sevens, not 28. Thanks. But what is happening is that there is a total disconnect. It's as if that project was not conceptualized by a previous administration. That is what is happening. That is the narrative that is being spread around the place. As if nothing was done during the People's National Party's term in office. That nothing was done. It has even got so bad. And I'm not using the term bad mind. You understand? I'll leave that for other people. They are changing or have changed the name of Highway 2000 so as to not associate it with the period of the People's National Party. To Trans-Jamaica Highway. And I would just like to say something to my candidates. And this is, you have to think outside of the box. You have to dream. You have to come up with ideas to solve the problems. You are going to face a lot of obstacles along the way. A lot of obstacles. I remember when I first moved to the Highway 2000, everybody said it was a crazy idea. They called it a highway in the sky. Well, of course, there are areas where the highway is in the sky, but they thought it was a dream. And so you will come up against obstacles, but you have to have a commitment. You need to have a passion. You need to have a drive. You need to have a team. You need to have the energy and the confidence that what you intend to do, what you plan to do, is for the betterment of the peoples of your constituency and of Jamaica. I am not a political speaker. Far from that. Right? Far from that. But when I look at what is happening in Jamaica today, I'm sure it must give most people a serious cause for concern. Serious cause for concern. The level of disorder on the streets. I see videos of the traffic in Montego Bay. Andre mentioned the whole thing of transportation in his presentation, right? But I have a theory. And the theory is, and Clayton might disagree with me here, there is this phrase, law and order. Okay? But it is my view that order needs to precede law. And I believe there needs to be a sort of code of conduct for people to abide by. The rules of life, the rules of living. We can go back to the 10 Commandments or some other code. And if those codes and rules of conduct are breached, that is where the law comes in. To punish or to deal with those who do not follow the order that is laid down. And Reverend Sam Stewart have a tune that is very popular now. Send it back. Yes, and I think we have to watch that because I understand that its origin was with slavery. But we have to watch how we use that. Though it's very catchy. But my interpretation or my version of it would be to reverse the course, not the curse. Reverse the course, because it is clear that the course we are on is not resulting in an improvement in the quality of life for the majority of Jamaicans. And I apologize. I'm extremely passionate about my country. I could have been overseas, working elsewhere, but can you hear me? I stay here because I feel, I'm on borrowed time now, right? As I try to tell people, I still have a brain, and I try to tell people that I only age from my scalp up, right? You seem uncomfortable with that, Sister. But you know, we have to understand that as is, the country is just not in a right place. The state of the nation is not good. It's not good. And they say in public speaking, you must try to get the audience participating. So I'm going to ask a question. But I don't want you to answer. I don't want you to answer. I will ask a question and then request how you answer. The question is, are you happy with the conditions in Jamaica? If you are not happy with the conditions in Jamaica, those of you who are seated remain seated, and those of you who are standing keep standing. So it is clear that everybody here is unhappy, because those who were seated remain seated, and those who were standing remain standing. So, I will not burden you. I came with a different text, but I would just like to point out just a couple little things which you can do individually, collectively, with a team. Little things which can transform the lives of individuals. I recall in 2004, the Minister of National Security came to me when Commissioner Macmillan, Colonel Macmillan, was the Commissioner of Police. The fleet of cars should have been 1,216. And all the police had was 216. 216 out of that amount. And the minister passed my office one day and saw a whole heap of vehicles. But I'd got those vehicles on that program to do some agricultural work in the hillside of St. Andrew and St. Catherine. But I said to the minister, if you want cars, tell me. I will organize cars for you. And by the time he reached his office, I had sent him, that time it was fax. I sent him a fax with a proposal for 15 million US dollars. So I brought in 850 motor vehicles and motorbikes in 2004. And that was done 4 months after he and I spoke. A lot of people thought it was impossible. But as I say, you have sometimes to dream the impossible dream. To fight the unbeatable foe.
What you say? Give us so long. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, I would rather be there. In your honest city store, every night and every day. In your eyes, I get lost, I get washed away. Just as long as I'm here in your arms, I could be no better love. You're simply the best, better than all the rest. We're better than anyone, anyone I've ever met. And I'm stuck on your love. Ain't gonna be what you said. Tear us apart. No, 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 no. Oh, baby, I would rather be dead. Each time you